Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Sherry Moyes here, your heart-powered intuitive business mentor. Showing up live today as part of what's going to be a 3-part little series. And kind of inspired this week, was not the original plan, but got to go with inspiration, right? Which is something I talk about all the time. Want to follow that intuition as it comes through. So this will be number 1 in a 3-part series. And I want to give you a little background as to why this is coming up and where this is coming from. And if you're joining me live and you have not already given StreamYard permission on Facebook, I won't be able to see your comments and know you're here. It's really simple to just give them permission. There's a link in the show info. Anyways, all right, so a little background. So 3 years ago tomorrow, I'm celebrating an anniversary of sorts. 3 years ago tomorrow, I underwent outpatient procedure to remove a cancerous tumor in my left breast. So an interesting anniversary for me, and maybe not in the way you would think. While I'm certainly celebrating that I am cancer-free, it's honestly more about what I learned about myself and my business during that whole journey that I always take pause to reflect on when this time comes around. And it sort of happens organically. It's not like I put it on the calendar and ask for it, but there's just a lot of gentle reminders. So quick backstory on how I got to that place to begin with. For those of you who don't know my story, I've been doing mentoring in some way, shape, or form for the last 10 years, but mostly it was a side gig. I worked in corporate for 25 years in sales and marketing, calling on major retailers the last 17, 18 years across the country. And I always knew that I wanted to leave corporate and do something, more fulfilling. It really was at the end, especially a pretty soul-sucking job. So finally, 3 years ago, November, I was able to leave corporate and do my, heart's work full-time. So exciting. I'd been in the works for a long time. And there's a lot of lessons and stories around that too. I spent the last year taking courses and doing all the things to prepare myself. Right out of the gate, had 5 amazing clients. I was averaging about $5,000 a month. But right before I left in the November and December, in December, I went in for a regular checkup with my GP, and she noticed something irregular in my breast, sent me for my annual mammogram, and lo and behold, they found a mass. I wasn't worried initially because I have really fibrous breast, and this is not unusual for them to have to retest and do all kinds of things, but this time was different. So there I am, end of December, a month out of corporate, sitting in the radiologist office, by the way, with my husband who just had a knee replacement. We were quite a pair, getting diagnosed with breast cancer. Not exactly the exit from corporate that I had envisioned, but life happens. And then a month later, I was having surgery to have that removed. So it really was a journey. All of the, plans that I had and the ways I had wanted to show up, I still thought I could just keep moving forward with, but it didn't go so smoothly as things do. So one of the big lessons that I learned over that time, is around self-care. Part of the reason I believe that, I had the whole experience with cancer was, just this huge reminder for me of, honoring myself and taking care of myself. I was go, 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 do, take it all on, girl. And, I really needed to learn to really honestly do the self-care that is really necessary for us to be physically, emotionally, and mentally healthy. So when we talk about self-care, there are all those aspects to it. It's, the exercise, the meditations, all the different pieces that are impacting all those aspects of ourselves. But I want to broaden the definition a bit for you, especially for those of you that, do have your own business. And even if you're in, working for someone else right now, maybe you're thinking about starting your own business, or that doesn't even matter so much. But I want to broaden this definition of self-care and apply it to the work we do in the world. And especially if you're an entrepreneur, how that looks and how you integrate the two is really what I believe creates a long-term sustainable business where you are really feeling nourished and supported. So, aside from all of the massages and yoga and all those other things, there's definitely those daily physical self-care pieces, emotional pieces that we need to be doing. We also want to set our business up for self-care. So it's the idea that, our business is also nourishing us. And I learned this the hard way. That first year, especially, my ego took a huge, huge hit. I was doing all the things that the gurus told me to do, taking all the courses, learning all the things. I'd done a lot of that before I left corporate. And I was really beating myself up and disappointed because every time I set out to do something and I made a plan and I set a goal, and then it didn't happen. It didn't happen the way I envisioned. The results were nowhere near what I had dreamed of or what I was told was possible. And there's a lot of lessons in that we'll talk about another time. But, it was really hard on my ego, and not to mention I'm navigating all this post, a cancer diagnosis. So, and dealing with some after effects of that at the time with some lymphedema. So, and I wish I had this bigger, broader understanding of self-care back then, but I didn't. And it took me, more time to see these pieces than I wish it had. But at the end of the day, I'm grateful that I have this point of view and I want to be able to share it with you and others, because I believe that it is how we, like I said, we build a business that is really sustainable and where we're nurtured. So part of that is setting really clear boundaries for ourselves and more gentle expectations. So here's what I learned about this bigger, broader definition of self-care and how we navigate it in the world of business. So what does that look like? We've got, first of all, those daily things that we do for ourselves, whatever your daily routines are. We've got, and I highly recommend that you calendar those things into your schedule, those breaks, those times. We've also got self-care is also the way we talk to ourselves. How do you speak to yourself and about yourself? That's really important. There's also, building up your muscle of resilience, your emotional resilience. There's a whole other aspect of self-care. When we're talking about it from a point of view of business, we want to look at it in a way that it's really honoring your time, energy, and emotional well-being too, which looks like a number of things. First of all, it goes from the basics, like who you're supporting, how you're going to market, how you're inviting people to work with you, the systems you use, the people you choose to support you, both within and outside of your business, And it's all those things because we need to be ensuring that our day-to-day actions and that's where we're spending our time and energy and putting our effort into really brings us joy. If you're not loving the clients you're working with, or you're trying to attract clients that just aren't taking you up on your offer, or if you're marketing, if you're like working your butt off to go from Facebook group to Facebook group to Facebook group to try to find clients and you're frustrated, those things aren't self-care. That is going to wear you down and burn you out. If the systems, if you're lacking systems, or the systems you're using are hard to work with and they're frustrating, that is a problem because it's also going to wear you out. And then if you don't have the support you need, if you're working with somebody who's not listening to or supporting you in the way that you need to be supported, then all of those things can be in the minus column versus where they belong in the plus column. And there's so many stories of, entrepreneurs in this world who have, built these 6-7 figure businesses and then had to quit because they couldn't manage it anymore. It was physically exhausting. It was emotionally exhausting. And that's not serving anybody. It's not serving the people that they're meant to help, and it's not serving them. So I want you to really consider and look at your own business from all these aspects. Now, it's not all going to be, roses every day, but we want to love the clients we're working with. We want to have systems that feel easy and support us and make things flow. We want to be doing marketing that we feel good about. We want to be working with people that we feel comfortable leaning on and who are cheering us on, and have people in our world that are doing those things. Ensuring that everything you're doing is adding to your joy, improving your mental, emotional, and physical well-being, and not breaking it down. So how do you get there? That's really, the lesson that I learned, was A, to pay attention to all these parts, and then B, to figure out how to address each one of them in my business so that I didn't end up where I had been when we owned a restaurant years before, whole nother story, which was with a full-blown adrenal fatigue and depression. So, it is setting your business up in a way that serves you as well as those you're meant to serve. And it's so powerful. So, and it's one of the things that I'm really passionate about and want everyone to be able to do for themselves. And so it means doing the discovery. It's creating awareness. That's really this key piece. We try to push through and build something and think we just got it, and we imagined it, drawn it out on a piece of paper. But until you're in the experience of it, you're not going to know what works for you. You're not going to know for sure what feels good. You're not going to know which clients are the best for you, which marketing system is the best for you. You may have ideas. There may be things that point you in certain directions, things about your personality, things about the way you're wired. But doing that discovery and giving yourself the grace to be in curiosity and explore different possibilities is the most powerful way I know to allow your business to build a foundation that is really going to serve you long term. So what's working? Take inventory. I invite you to take inventory in your business. Like, what's working? What isn't working? What is adding to your self-care and nourishing you? And what's draining you? And how can you shift that? What else could you try? What else feels good? What else gets you excited? And how can you explore that? So I hope that this resonates with you. I would love to hear your comments when you've had a chance to listen through. And then I want to make you aware of something that I am opening up, to a few people. I've got some space in my world for 4 probably one-to-one clients, and I'm doing what I'm lovingly call, I'm not sure if I want to call it a beta or a case study, but I want to intentionally help you to set your business up and do the inner and outer work to be able to have a business that's really nourishing and supporting you, that has all these components in it. And I've mapped out a new client journey that I'm really excited about. And I want to take a few select people that are the right fit, that are looking to really, find their way, do their business uniquely them. And doesn't mean you're not going to make money while you do it. It's still that earn while you learn kind of energy. But, finding out who is the people that you love to work with that really feels good to you. What kind of marketing really works for you? Discovering, which systems you really need and what you don't need, keeping things really simple. And then, what's getting in your way mentally, emotionally? What are those stories? Doing the inner and the outer work together to allow you to really build a super solid foundation moving forward, whether you're in launching mode of your business or whether you're ready for the next level of growth. Taking a pause and doing all of these pieces, and it's really not a pause, because we're going to keep working and reaching out and work. That's how we do this. That's how we figure it out, is we get into action. So if this sounds interesting, if you're curious, if you want to learn more about this, if you want to potentially see if you're a good fit or ask me more questions about it, I'll be talking a little more about it over the next few days. Just drop me a message in the chat, tell me more, private message me, shoot me an email, whatever works. And let's chat and see if it makes sense for where you are, and if it's going to give you what you need right now, which is super important. But irregardless of whether or not that's a path for you and I to take together, I really want to encourage you to take a pause at some point, today, tomorrow. Tomorrow is the full moon, and that's a really great time. Release what isn't serving you, but you want to call it in. So take a pause, take a look at your own self-care routine, take a look at how your business is supporting that or not, and make some commitments to yourself. What would you like to shift around that energy? All right, and I will be back tomorrow with part 2, tomorrow at 11 Pacific. And I should remember exactly what part 2 is, but I need to, oops, there goes my screen, possibly. I should remember exactly what part 2 is, but I don't at the moment, so I'm going to look it up. Part 2 is, how you do. The lesson I learned is doing all this discovery without feeling like you're chasing rainbows. So we'll talk more about that tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific, and I hope to see you there. And any questions, comments about self-care and how that shows up for you in your life and your business, drop it in the comments, and I will definitely be looking for that. All right, my friends, have a beautiful rest of your day. And as always, just remember, all it takes is a little bit of heart power. See you soon.